Hello and welcome to Parliament This Week, where we get you updates from all that's happened in both houses of Parliament in the week gone by. I'm Tina Jha. Let's begin with the headlines. Monsoon Session of Parliament concludes. Both houses adjourn sine die. Rajya Sabha passes 14 bills, Lok Sabha 21. With 17 sittings, Upper House achieved productivity of over 74%, 3 times the productivity in the last 2 sessions. NDA candidate Harivansh elected Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha with 125 votes in his favour and 101 against. Allies Shiv Sena and Akali Dal support NDA along with BJD, AIA-DMK and TRS. Opposition alliance led by Congress, backed by TMC, DMK, left parties, SP, BSP, NCP and TDP. Issue of sexual exploitation of girls at children's shelter homes in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar raised in Lok Sabha. Congress seeks JPC probe into Rafale deal. Home Minister Rajnath Singh assures central help to flood-hit Kerala. Trinamool Congress members disrupt proceedings in Rajya Sabha on Tuesday. Slogan shouting MPs enter well of the House, disrupt Amit Shah's speech on the debate on farmers' issues. Chairman expresses displeasure. And government intensified crackdown on dubious companies, said Finance Minister Piyush Goyal on Tuesday. Informed members that investigations are on against individuals accused of holding black money revealed by the Panama Papers leak. The monsoon session of Parliament ended this week with both houses of Parliament being adjourned sine die. The two houses had 17 sittings each during the monsoon session. The session saw a discussion on a no-confidence motion against the government, which was defeated. The session was also one of the most productive ever, with several bills being passed, 14 in Rajya Sabha and 21 in Lok Sabha.
The House stands adjourned sine die.
Adjourning the Rajya Sabha sine die, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu said the productivity of the upper house during 17 sittings of the monsoon session was over 74%. This is 3 times the productivity of the House in the past 2 sessions.
Southwest monsoon is very critical for the economy of our country, and it has been by and large normal with only about 5% deficit in rainfall so far. And the monsoon session of Parliament also brought new tidings, making a break from the last 2 sessions, which much to the delight of all those who have a stake in our parliamentary democracy. With a productivity of more than 74%, measured in terms of the functional time against the total time available, this session proved to be about 3 times more productive than the last budget session, whose productivity was only about 25%. This is a remarkable improvement, and the credit goes to all of you. Still, I am not fully happy.
During the session, Rajya Sabha passed 14 bills, including the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Bill and the Constitution 123rd Amendment Bill, giving constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes.
This August House could address some issues of socio-economic justice during this session, which is the mandate and sacred duty of the Parliament. This session has proved that a performing Parliament can deliver on its mandate, and let us always remind and be guided by the principle for the future as well.
The chairman said that 120 issues were raised in the 0 hour during the monsoon session, while replies to 91 questions were given on the floor of the House. However, during the session, the Rajya Sabha also lost more than 27 hours on various issues, while the House sat 3 extra hours to make up for the time lost.
Let us remind ourselves of the 26% deficit. That's why I said, still I am not happy. Going by the indications, I am sure this deficit would be wiped out soon as we continue to walk on the path of this realization. I once again compliment all sections of the House for this turnaround.
The Lok Sabha too was adjourned after what turned out to be a very productive session. Adjourning the House sine die, Speaker Sumitra Mahajan said the monsoon session had been much more productive than the last 2 sessions.
इस सत्र में लोकसभा ने समाज कल्याण से जुड़े ऐसे विधेयक पारित किए हैं सबने मिलके, जिसका व्यापक प्रभाव समाज के वंचित वर्गों के हितों पर पड़ेगा। जैसे संविधान संशोधन विधेयक, जिसके पारित होने से राष्ट्र पिछड़ा वर्ग आयोग के संवैधानिक रूप से गठन का मार्ग प्रशस्त हुआ है। उसी प्रकार अनुसूचित जातियां और अनुसूचित जनजातियां संशोधन विधेयक भी पारित किया गया है।
The Lok Sabha had 17 sittings for 112 hours during the monsoon session, in which the House passed 21 bills. While 8 hours 26 minutes of the session were marred by disruptions, the House sat almost 21 hours extra to discuss major issues during the session that began on July 18th. The House also debated a no-confidence motion against the government brought in by the TDP and other opposition parties. The debate went on for nearly 12 hours on July 20th before it was defeated in the House. A total of 4,140 questions were replied to by the government. These included 75 starred questions answered orally by the ministers in the House. The Lok Sabha also had a short duration discussion on the flood and drought situation in the country. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Rajya Sabha elected Harivansh as Deputy Chairman this week. The NDA secured 125 votes while the opposition could only muster 101. The post of Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman was lying vacant since the retirement of PJ Kurian. Congratulating the new Deputy Chairman on his win, Chairman Naidu expressed hope that the new Deputy Chairman will conduct proceedings of the House in accordance with the rules and procedures.
I therefore declare that Sri Harivansh...
On Thursday, the upper house elected NDA candidate Harivansh as the Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman against the joint opposition candidate BK Hariprasad. Harivansh got 125 votes in his favour and 101 against. The YSRCP abstained from voting, while allies Shiv Sena and Akali Dal supported the NDA. The BJD, AIADMK and TRS also backed Harivansh. The opposition alliance led by the Congress got the backing of TMC, DMK, left parties, SP, BSP, NCP and the TDP.
I therefore declare that Sri Harivansh has been chosen as the Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha.
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu congratulated Harivansh on his election. He expressed hope that the new Deputy Chairman will conduct proceedings of the House in accordance with the rules and procedures.
I have noticed Sri Harivansh ji making constructive suggestions in the meetings of the Business Advisory Committee and also my daily meeting with the leaders of various parties. On all such occasions, his suggestions and interventions were very clearly driven by his commitment to enable smooth functioning of the House. If some of you find me being emotional at times about functioning of the House, I can assure you that Sri Harivansh ji is calm, cool and smiling all the time. These traits should help Sri Harivansh ji in discharging his new responsibility as the Deputy Chairman of this august House effectively.
Immediately after the election, Prime Minister Narendra Modi walked up to Harivansh's seat to greet him. In his speech welcoming the new Deputy Chairman, the Prime Minister praised him, saying he was a favourite of former Prime Minister Chandrasekhar. Lauding his journalistic acumen and ethics, Prime Minister Modi said in his days as a journalist, the new Deputy Chairman ran a column on how an ideal parliamentarian should be.
सदन की तरफ से और मेरी तरफ से नवनिर्वाचित उपसभापति श्रीमान हरिवंश जी को हृदयपूर्वक बहुत-बहुत बधाई देता हूं। हरिवंश जी उस कलम के धनी हैं जिसने अपनी एक विशेष पहचान बनाई है और मेरे लिए ये भी खुशी है कि वो बनारस के विद्यार्थी रहे थे। उनकी दीक्षा बनारस में हुई और वहीं से अर्थशास्त्र में एमए कर करके वो आए।
Leader of the House Arun Jaitley and Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad also welcomed the new Deputy Chairman.
जब वो पीछे बैठते थे और आरंभ के वर्ष में भी बोलते थे तो उनकी हर विषय पर जिस पे बोलते थे रिसर्च पूरी होती थी। उनकी गरिमा, बात कहने की शालीनता, किसी पर व्यक्तिगत प्रहार ना करना, कभी सदन की प्रोसीडिंग को डिस्टर्ब ना करना, ये सब चीजें उनके बारे में हम लोग देखते रहे। और इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि एक व्यक्ति जो इन मापदंड के हिसाब से चलता रहा है, निश्चित रूप से इस सदन की गरिमा उपसभापति के रूप में और बढ़ाएगा।
मैं नवनिर्वाचित डिप्टी चेयरमैन श्री हरिवंश जी को अपनी तरफ से, अपनी पार्टी की तरफ से, विपक्ष की तरफ से बहुत बहुत हार्दिक बधाई देना चाहता हूं। जो भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोजीशंस होती हैं, उन पर चुन के आने के बाद वो नेता, वो लीडर एक पार्टी का, एक पक्ष का नहीं होता, एक समुदाय का नहीं होता है, वो देश का होता है, हर पार्टी का होता है, हर समुदाय का होता है।
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu invited the newly elected Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman to lead the session on the day he was elected. Amid the applause, Harivansh thanked members for electing him and promised to fulfill his duties to the best of his abilities.
मुझे पता है कि इस गौरवशाली सदन का महत्वपूर्ण जिम्मा आपने मुझे सौंपा है और यह सही आप में से कुछ एक लोगों ने कहा कि मुझे जो दायित्व आपने दिया है उसके अनुसार मैं किसी दल और पक्ष का नहीं, उसका निर्वाह मैं इस सदन के आचरण।
Following the failed no-confidence motion against the government in the Lok Sabha last month, the contest for the post of Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman was seen as a direct contest between the government and the opposition. Since 1952, there have been 19 elections for the post. On 14 occasions, there was no contest in the election. The Deputy Chairman is a constitutional position created under Article 89 of the Constitution that specifies that Rajya Sabha shall choose one of its MPs to be the Deputy Chairman. With inputs from Kriti Mishra, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
During the monsoon session, the Rajya Sabha passed a total of 14 bills. There were several key bills that were passed, including a bill providing constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes and the Criminal Law Amendment Bill 2018.
14 bills were passed in the Rajya Sabha this session. The crucial bill to provide constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes was passed on Monday with 2/3 majority. The upper house adopted the legislation along with amendments made by the Lok Sabha by 156 votes to nil. Social Justice and Empowerment Minister Thavar Chand Gehlot said the bill would help the people from backward classes to fight atrocities against them and ensure quick justice to them. As suggested by the opposition parties, the NCBC would have female representation. The commission would not encroach upon the rights of state governments as they would have their own backward class commissions. The NCBC would recommend only to the central government regarding inclusion or deletion of a particular caste in the list.
मैं आश्वस्त करता हूं कि ये ओबीसी वर्ग के लिए संवैधानिक दर्जा प्राप्त आयोग होगा, इसमें भी ओबीसी वर्ग के सदस्य होंगे। एक बात मैंने पिछले टाइम भी स्पष्ट कर दी थी, फिर भी उस विषय को बार बार संशोधन भी आया कि एक महिला सदस्य होना चाहिए। मैं गंभीरता से आश्वस्त करता हूं कि जब हम नियमों का प्रावधान करेंगे, नियम बनाएंगे, तो एक महिला सदस्य होगी, इस प्रकार का प्रावधान उसमें करेंगे। ये कहा जा रहा है साहब राज्यों के अधिकार का हनन होगा, ठीक है। किसी प्रकार से न तो राज्यों के अधिकार का हनन होगा, न ये केंद्रीय आयोग के प्रतिवेदन पर उनके ऊपर किसी प्रकार का बंधन होगा। वो अपनी कार्यशैली, अपनी कार्यवाही करने के लिए स्वतंत्र होंगे।
On the same day, the Rajya Sabha also passed the Criminal Law Amendment Bill 2018. The bill enhances the minimum punishment for rape of women from 7 to 10 years and provides for life imprisonment or death penalty for the rape of girls below 12 years of age. The bill was passed by voice vote and it replaces the Criminal Law Amendment Ordinance that was promulgated on April 21st.
कर सकता है। आईपीसी 176 में जो पनिशमेंट का प्रोविजन है, पहले 7 साल होते थे, अब उसको 10 साल किया गया है। 376 आईपीसी। सर उसके बाद जो 16 साल से जो नीचे है, उसके खिलाफ अगर बलात्कार होता है तो उसके लिए सजा पहले 10 साल हुआ करता था, अब उसको मिनिमम 20 साल किया गया है और वो रिमाइंडर ऑफ द लाइफ जेल वहाँ पे रहने का प्रावधान है। 12 साल से जो छोटे हैं बच्चियों के साथ अगर ये रेप होता है तो उसके लिए 20 साल, पहले 10 साल था, अब न्यूनतम 20 साल से रिगरस इम्प्रिजनमेंट और डेथ, इसका नया प्रावधान रखा गया है।
Another important bill passed in Rajya Sabha was the National Sports University Bill. The bill seeks to set up a specialized National Sports University in Manipur that will be the first of its kind to promote sports education in the areas of sports sciences, sports technology, sports management and sports coaching. The university will also offer master's and bachelor's degrees in various fields including sports management and sports science. Besides the main campus in Manipur, regional centres of the university will also be established in other parts of the country and abroad. A sportsperson will be appointed the university vice-chancellor. The university in Manipur would function as a national training centre for select sports disciplines by adopting best international practices.
1990 से जितने भी ओलंपिक पदक आए हैं उन सभी की फंडिंग नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स डेवलपमेंट फंड से हुई थी। इस नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स डेवलपमेंट फंड को हम और बढ़ाना चाहते हैं और उसमें और कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर को जोड़ना चाहते हैं ताकि पैसे की कोई कमी न रहे। मैं आज सदन को बताना चाहूंगा कि हमारे देश में प्रतिभा बहुत जबरदस्त है और पोटेंशियल को ओलंपिक पोडियम तक जोड़ने के लिए हम पैसे की कोई कमी नहीं होने देंगे, हम टेक्नोलॉजी की कोई कमी नहीं होने देंगे, हमारा समर्थन पूरा रहेगा।
On Thursday, the Rajya Sabha passed the Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Bill 2018. The bill rules out any provision for anticipatory bail for a person accused of atrocities against SC/STs, notwithstanding any court order. It provides that no preliminary inquiry will be required for registering a criminal case, and an arrest under this law would not be subject to any approval.
इन वर्गों के हितों के प्रति प्रतिबद्ध है, अच्छी नीयत से, अच्छी नीति से, अच्छी कार्य योजना बना करके, कठोर प्रयास करके इनके हकों का संरक्षण करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं और उसमें सफलता भी मिली है। विशेष अदालत का भी विषय आया कि विशेष अदालतें गठित करना चाहिए। इस कानून में हमने विशेष अदालतें गठित करने का प्रावधान किया है।
On the concluding day of the monsoon session, Rajya Sabha passed the Commercial Courts, Commercial Division and Commercial Appellate Division of High Courts Bill. The bill allows state governments to establish commercial courts at the district level, even in territories where high courts have ordinary original civil jurisdiction. In areas where high courts do not have original jurisdiction, state governments may set up commercial appellate courts at the district level to consider appeals from commercial courts below the level of a district judge. Commercial courts and commercial divisions of high courts will be able to adjudicate commercial disputes with a value of 3 lakh rupees. Earlier, it was 1 crore rupees.
बहुत पीड़ा से कहना चाहता हूं, बार-बार मैं जुडिशरी को सम्मान से कहता हूं कि शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब के लोगों को भी, वकीलों को स्थान मिलना चाहिए। ये मेरा प्रयास चल रहा है और चलेगा। मेरी प्रामाणिकता मैं हाउस में बार-बार कहता हूं कि महिलाएं, दलित वर्ग के लोग अधिक से अधिक जज बने, ये मेरी पूरी कोशिश है और मैं उसको प्रयास करता रहूंगा।
Other bills passed in Rajya Sabha this week include the Homeopathy Central Council Amendment Bill and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Second Amendment Bill 2018. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Several bills were passed in the lower house as well in the final week of the monsoon session, including the Scheduled Caste and the Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Bill 2018. The Lok Sabha also passed 4 bills to amend the GST law on Thursday.
Lok Sabha passed the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Bill 2018 on Monday. The bill seeks to amend the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989 and nullify the Supreme Court judgment pronounced in March this year. It rules out any provision for anticipatory bail for a person accused of atrocities against the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes, notwithstanding any court order. The bill says no preliminary inquiry will be needed to register a criminal case, and an arrest under this law would not be subject to any approval. The centre had approved it last week after the government decided to bill a constitution amendment bill in Parliament to restore the original provisions of the SC and ST Act.
मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि हम प्रारंभ से, और प्रारंभ से शब्द अगर बोल रहा हूँ तो जनसंघ के समय से ये कहते आ रहे हैं और अनेक अवसरों पर ये सिद्ध भी करते आ रहे हैं कि हम आरक्षण के पक्षधर थे, हैं
और आगे भी रहेंगे। चाहे राज्यों में हमको सरकार में आने का अवसर मिला हो तो हमने ये करके दिखाया है, और केंद्र में अगर अवसर मिला है तो भी हमने ये करके दिखाया है।
The Lok Sabha passed 4 bills to amend the GST law on Thursday: the Central GST Amendment Bill, Integrated GST Amendment Bill, GST Compensation to States Amendment Bill, and Union Territory GST Amendment Bill were passed together by a voice vote.
सरकार का दायित्व सिर्फ रेवेन्यू बढ़ाते जाना नहीं है, हमें उपभोक्ता की भी चिंता है। हमें चिंता है कि ईमानदार व्यवस्था जब हम प्रोत्साहन दे रहे हैं तो कम कर होंगे तो व्यवस्था से लोग और जुड़ेंगे। तो मुझे लगता है कंप्लायंस और एक्सपेंडेड टैक्स बेस से रेवेन्यू बढ़ेगा।
The Representation of People Amendment Bill 2017 was passed by a voice vote in the lower house. The bill proposes that overseas Indians who are entitled to vote in India could now appoint a proxy voter to cast their votes. Moving the bill for consideration and passage, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said the provision would help NRIs to participate in the electoral process.
I have noted all the concerns which the Honourable Member have suggested or observed. While framing the rule, I want to assure these concerns shall be flagged into, and all the security architecture will be there. This is a momentous event. देश के एनआरआई को हमें बहुत बड़ा अवसर दे रहे हैं, जो भारत को प्यार करते हैं, भारत का सम्मान करते हैं, और ये हम उनको भारत के लोकतंत्र में एक महत्वपूर्ण स्थान दे रहे हैं, इसलिए मैं इसका समर्थन करें, ये मैं लोगों से आग्रह करूं।
And on Friday, the lower house passed the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill 2018, which will amend the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. The bill will help India become a hub of domestic and global arbitration for settling commercial disputes. It also seeks to establish an independent body called the Arbitration Council of India to promote arbitration, mediation, conciliation and other alternative dispute redressal mechanisms. The bill is part of government's effort to encourage institutional arbitration for settlement of disputes and make India a centre of robust alternative dispute resolution mechanism.
You cannot take unnecessary adjournment because a whole time frame has been fixed. And if an institutional arbitration centre becomes notorious for only long adjournment and delayed disposal of cases, people will not go to that institution. Therefore, the whole grading of arbitration institution will also take into account as to how much time is being spent in disposal of cases there.
Also passed were the Appropriation Number 4 Bill 2018 and the Appropriation Number 5 Bill 2018 in the final week of the monsoon session of the Lok Sabha. Both houses of Parliament were adjourned on Wednesday as a mark of respect to DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi, who passed away on Tuesday.
2018 at 11 a.m.
From black money to triple talaq and Kerala floods, the Rajya Sabha discussed several important issues during the last week of the monsoon session.
The beginning of the last week of the monsoon session saw Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu seeking the cooperation of all members of the Rajya Sabha for the smooth functioning of the House for passage of crucial bills. He also informed that the House would sit beyond its stipulated time of 6 p.m. to ensure the passage of key bills.
In the Business Advisory Committee, I suggested, and I was happy to note that honourable members have agreed that the House will be sitting till late, beyond 6 o'clock, sometimes up to 8 o'clock also, depending on the need. So please make up your mind and then try to be there in the House.
On Tuesday morning, as the House reassembled, Chairman Naidu observed that only 156 members were present when the Rajya Sabha passed the Constitution 123rd Amendment Bill on Monday evening. He said on such matters, political parties should issue whips to ensure presence of its members.
What is the total presence in the House? 156. What is the strength of the House? On such a constitutional amendment where there is unanimity, where there is concern, and we just scrape it through because 2/3 and then more than half to be present, etc. So in such matters, parties also through their whips see to it that the members are cautioned, are guided, are directed to be there in time and also vote in such things.
During question hour on Tuesday, Finance Minister Piyush Goyal informed the House that the last 4 years have seen immense improvement in corporate, banking, governance and financial sector. He also said the government has intensified crackdown on dubious companies after it unearthed over $1 billion in suspicious cash deposits as part of its investigations into corruption.
जब हमने 2 लाख से अधिक कंपनियों को स्ट्राइक ऑफ किया तो शायद 5,000 के करीब ही सिर्फ वापस आए, बताने के लिए अपने हिसाब किताब के हम जेन्युइन कंपनीज हैं। तो इतना रोबस्ट मैकेनिज्म और मापदंड लगा के ये कार्रवाई की गई कि लगभग 98% एक्यूरेसी, 97% एक्यूरेसी से हमने 2 लाख से अधिक कंपनियों को स्ट्राइक ऑफ किया। अब प्रक्रिया और 2 लाख की हमने शुरू की है, उसमें से 80,000 को नोटिस दे चुके हैं, उनका जवाब के साथ साथ उन पे भी एक्शन होगा।
On Tuesday, BJP President Amit Shah also initiated a short-duration discussion on the increase in MSP of Kharif crops and challenges facing the agriculture sector.
में 2009 से 2014 तक 1,21,082 करोड़ और 2014 से 2018 तक वो बढ़कर हो गया 2,11,694 करोड़। 75% की वृद्धि कृषि के बजट में करने का काम भारतीय जनता पार्टी की नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार ने, एनडीए सरकार ने किया है।
But Shah's address was interrupted by protests by Trinamool Congress members over NRC and other issues. The chairman urged Trinamool members to allow the House to function but adjourned the House briefly following protests by the members.
I am adjourning the House to meet after 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
The issue of floods in Kerala and the destruction caused by it was also raised in the Rajya Sabha on Friday. CPI MP from Kerala, Binoy Vishwam, demanded that the situation be declared a national disaster.
Sir, the people of Kerala are suffering a lot, sir. Is facing a serious situation because of floods. Sir, my request is that the central government should entrust the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, all to rescue the Kerala people. Sir, this is the national tragedy. Sir, it's a national tragedy.
The contentious Triple Talaq Bill, which criminalizes instant talaq, could not be taken up for discussion and passage on the last day of the Monsoon Session of Parliament due to a lack of consensus among political parties on the bill.
ट्रिपल तलाक बिल, वो बिल अभी नहीं ले रहे, कारण क्या है, आपस में एक मत नहीं हो पाया। इसको ध्यान में रख के कृपया सब लोग लास्ट डे उसको भी ध्यान में रख के स्मूथली आगे बढ़ने के लिए प्रयास करिए।
The Congress-led opposition demanded that the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2017 be sent to a select committee for further scrutiny. With inputs from Kriti Mishra and Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And time now to look at the issues that resonated in the Lok Sabha in the last week of the monsoon session. Opposition members raised the issue of sexual exploitation of girls at shelter homes in UP and Bihar, while Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge once again raised the issue of Rafale deal in the lower house. We leave you with this report. Thanks for your time.
The alleged sexual exploitation of girls at a children's shelter home in Uttar Pradesh, Devariya district resonated in the Lok Sabha this week. After opposition parties raised the concern, Home Minister Rajnath Singh termed the incident shameful and declared that no culprit would escape action. But soon after the Home Minister's response, members of the SP, RJD, Congress and Trinamool Congress staged a walkout from the House. On Monday, the House was adjourned briefly after opposition members protested over the alleged sexual exploitation of girls at a shelter home in Muzaffarpur. Speaker Sumitra Mahajan asked the government to take the concerns of members seriously, after which Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anant Kumar assured that the CBI will hold a fair probe into the case. Congress members also raised the issue of Rafale deal in Lok Sabha. Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge demanded a probe into the deal by a joint parliamentary committee and also asked for a reply from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. On the issue of floods in Kerala, Home Minister Rajnath Singh assured the House that the centre will provide all possible help to the flooded state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.